Yo, what up, street gods, street togs, street bloggity, vlog, dog bugs. All right, some thoughts. This one is how to become more creatively confident. So I think that creative confidence is essentially our lifeblood, right? Is that without creative confidence, you cannot do nothing, right? And actually, in today's world, what we are lacking is confidence, self-confidence, creativity, stuff like that. And what is creative confidence, etc.? Essentially, creative confidence is just having the chutzpah, the balls, the audacity, the recklessness to put things out there and stand by what we do and create and stuff like that, and have great faith in ourselves and what we do. And the reason why I think this is so critical is, you think about all the great artists of the past, Picasso, Matisse, they all knew how to like draw and paint properly, right? Like even Jean-Michel Basquiat was like, people don't actually know how to draw and paint. Like, and then even Andy Warhol, he was actually a good draftsman and stuff himself too. And so what a lot of people don't understand about like Jackson Pollock was also like a really good painter too. Like, he knew how to paint like real. The reason why people head towards abstraction and doing abstract art isn't because they don't know how to paint like real peoples. It's actually because they have elevated themselves to such a high level and grandiorness that, in fact, they're kind of bored with the traditional ways that things are done, and what they're interested in instead is to create a new vision, to create a new concept, etc. Now, what should we do about things? So we are artists, we are creatives, we are creators, etc. And it seems that a good noble life goal that we could pursue is for us to pursue our creative passions and our creative pursuits. And now, first and foremost, kind of having the creative confidence of a child is a good idea, in which we glorify our work, we stand by it. And one of the upside of having kids, right? I think the best way to parent is actually to have irrational pride in your kid, like irregardless of XYZ. Like to quote my best friend Kanye West, like, what is a genius? A genius is a kid with good parents, right? And what is a good parent? A good parent is somebody who loves their kids and thinks of them as insanely capable. So the best way to be a good parent is actually to have insane faith in your kid and insane audacity in your kid, that your kid is the best of all time. And it's not a matter of whether this is quote quote true or not. It's just more of a matter of philosophy, where it's more of a matter of philosophy in which like, your faith in your kid shouldn't be a predication on their results or the outcome or comparing your kid with other people. However, rather, the best thing is you to not compare, but like, it's like de facto, this is my kid, and irregardless of how my kid turns out, I'm gonna be proud of my kid. That seems to be the best way to deal with things. And yeah, and also I think that in terms of just like creative matters in life, etc., is to just, whatever you create, you don't need validation from nobody else. Some good ways that you could, if you want critical feedback in your photos, I created this platform called arsbeta.com, arsbeta.com. R stands for art, right? Latin, ARS. Beta, beta.com. Beta, like beta testing, because your artwork is always in beta testing mode. And the funny thing is that, like, there's no great clarity in terms of how things will manifest in the real world. Is one must invest in something called bricolage. What is bricolage? Bricolage is this great French concept. I learned this from my best friend Nassim Taleb. As you just kind of, fuck with things, you kind of mess with it and you play around with it, you discover new discoveries. So like, for example, I think the microwave was discovered trying to tinker and something to do with x-rays or something like that, and they're like, oh, actually this technology is actually really good at making your, you know, tortilla soup really hot, right? Same thing with like Velcro. It was like initially intended for something else, but anyways, so we never know how things will manifest until it manifests. And that's actually the really hard thing about entrepreneurship, is that there is no great clarity to anything. Like honestly, like even the way I think about things even nowadays, like people's like, oh Eric, you're doing all this random X, Y, and Z, where you going? I'm like, I have no idea. like and it's tricky too, because if you use a consultant, use a, you know, whatever person, you are actually judged on how clear, legible, and precise and charging things for the future. But what if in fact the truth is actually in truth the fact is you have no idea where you're going? It's kind of like a random walk, right? Then like how you gonna be judged, right? And so my thought is maybe it's wise for us to almost in some ways become more reckless, to become more insane, to be a little bit more crazy with things in order to have them materialize in some way. I mean, the biggest thing honestly is just to publish yourself on the internet. I'm also like, you know, been thinking more I really still think the internet is the future, and it's like thinking beyond social media, thinking beyond just the YouTubies or whatever's, is that like building your own website platform still seems to be the way. Like very, very simple. If you want to conquer and dominate whatever, you cannot do it through, you know, Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. Actually, not even YouTube. Even YouTube, like, it's funny because everyone's always like, oh, you become YouTube famous, you make millions of dollars doing X, Y, and Z. No one ever talks about what's actually more impressive is YouTube, the platform itself, like, which is essentially Google, right? I'm actually more interested and impressed, like, because like, oh yeah, all these people have like 1 billion views, 2 billion views. I'm like, I'm more interested in actually the platform that's able to host and hold and carry the billions of views, right? Like, how is it that like people don't appreciate YouTube, right? It's like, how is it that this platform does not collapse after having 2 billion people watch something concurrently? Like, I don't know the stats, but I can imagine something like concurrently at once, X amount of people watching the same video at once, like billions of times. Like, that is amazing. That's incredible. Another turbo thought I had this day was like thinking insanely big. Like, I don't know, I think life is uncertain, whatever. It's like, don't think but basic, like think insanely big. Like I've been thinking more about like, you know, fitness, working, kind of stuff like that, right? And you know, I was like, oh, should I open up a gym? But then I realized in some ways the best way to conquer is actually not by doing in-person mortar and brick things. You want to become infinitely scalable. So for example, maybe even just opening up a gym, that's almost thinking too basic. Even if it was like a cool you know, indoor outdoor space thing, whatever, it almost doesn't matter. Is to just open up a gym itself is maybe not the way. A more interesting way is actually to pioneer a path or a concept, a platform or a network. I've actually been really thinking about this whole network thing. Seneca loves the Teslas. I was thinking about this whole network thing, is that he who owns the network shall conquer all. This is actually where, you know, I think Chainlink, chain.link, I'm not currently invested in right now as I make this videos, but I think they's pretty smart. The Sergey guy is pretty smart, because I think it has the potential to become the next Google. I mean, they do have Eric Schmidt on their board of advisors, who's like pretty genius. Is like the key to Google's success is have a little bit of Google and everything, which is now the case today, which is pretty smart. So maybe even my personal ambition for myself is I want there to be a little bit of Eric Kim and everything that is done. Like even now, like honestly, you know, if you are OG street tog, you into street photography, you know who Eric Kim is. He's not a real street tog, right? Like anybody who's into weightlifting, bodybuilding, whatever, if you don't know who Ronnie Coleman is, like lightweight baby, lightweight in the peanut, woo, like you's not really in, right? Similarly speaking, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, like he's not in. So that's a fun thought, right? Try to put a little bit of yourself into everything out there. I mean, other simple thoughts too. I still think there's a right future for media. Essentially, you want to become an own producer, right? Like, you know, the real successful people in Hollywood are actually not the actors or even the directors, it's actually the producers, because producers are actually the people who get the shows made. And my personal thought is you could become your own producer and you could produce your own shows, produce your own media, produce your own films, your own movies, etc. My personal thought is looks like it's raining. Okay, so yeah, I think in terms of thinking big, right? Like, I mean, I was like, yo, the actor, whatever. It's like everyone wants to be discovered, right? I'm like, no, that's thinking way too basic. A more audacious way to think about things is that you want to become the producer, you want to create the shows, and people say, I'm looking for investment. You don't need no investor, just put that shit on for free on YouTube, right? And then everyone always trying to make money from stuff. The desire to have to always make money from things is also, in my opinion, a very short-sighted endeavor. Much more audacious and interesting instead is to yeah, to essentially produce your own shows, right? So yeah, become your own producer, become your own creator. Whatever you create, have insane audacity and self-confidence in yourselves, because whatever you create is golden.